You are listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. The production team are Angel Moore and Georgia Sutherland. I'm Eve Robinson and welcome to the show. Welcome to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast, and today we're lucky enough to talk to Glynn Butcher. He's from the People's Focus Group, and we'll sort of tell you what that's about in a minute. But firstly, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Nice to have you here. Right, so Glynn Butcher. Right, so now we know that we know we're going to talk about what you've been doing, but tell me a little bit about yourself.
So again, Glynn Butcher, based in Intake, called the Wellness Centre. It's called the People Focus Group. I've been in services for over 40 years as a patient in mental health services, drug and alcohol services. I hear voices, I have personality disorder, I have autism, and I'm part of the Wellness Centre because it's about peer support, and what peer support is, people helping people. I've spent 40 years in a service that didn't help me recover for one day. When I become part of my community, when I was enriched by my community and I felt wealth in my community, that's when I started to recover. So that's how I got involved in peer support, because I see that's the only thing to help me recover. I still hear voices today. I still have suicidal thoughts today. I'm not suicidal, it's just part of my condition. But about being in my community, working with my community, being an asset in my community and connecting with my community, I see the wealth in community connectors.
Did you fail to get a good diagnosis when you were younger? Is that why you spent sort of 40 years not being helped by the system?
I didn't get a diagnosis of autism until I was 43. I just felt I was odd or different or strange. I never felt that I fitted in. I'm very skillful at lots of things, but I couldn't read and write when I was 35. I learned to read and write at 35. I don't know my left from right. I have to get lost in strange places. I can't have red and green on my plate. I communicate differently to lots of people. I know that I communicate differently, so I taste words. So when people hear words, their main form of communication is speaking. That's not mine. Mine's about interpreting people's feelings and emotions, and I see images above people's heads when people speak. And when people speak, I see a symphony coming out of people's mouths. So my way of interacting and understanding the world is very different to other people's. But also, as a person, I heard voices from being a baby. It's not that something traumatic happened in my life that I heard voices at 18. I've always lived this way, but I just thought it was normal. And that's why I needed help and support by the community.
Right. So when you were growing up, were you in mainstream school?
Mainstream school, but I've been a child carer from being 11-year-old. So I never know where we're going to be sleeping at night. Mum would be in section under mental health act, or we were living with different family members. So I was travelling around a lot. So I didn't have any stability as a child. I didn't have a stable home or stable upbringing. I was always moving around from pillar to post, like I said, because of the severity of my mum's mental illness and also the uncertainty of family, because obviously other people are poorly too, and other people have family lives, and me and my brother, we couldn't always stay at the same place, so we were separated from one part of the borough to another. I'm from Doncaster, I'm actually from Dennerbit, but I actually live in Rotherham now, because mum's obviously sectioned under mental health in Rotherham, and I have a brother through COVID who got brain damage and Charles Bonnet syndrome and double incontinent from COVID, who is now in a care home in Rotherham.
Right. So really, life's been, you haven't had a community around you that have really nurtured you. That's what you're saying. As you were growing up, it was a difficult situation.
I didn't know what community were. I used to think in life the worst thing were being people. I used to think in life the worst thing was being alone, but it wasn't. It was being with people who made you feel alone. And I've never understood what community is. I think that's why I value community wealth building so much now, because I understand the value of it. I've lived lives without it, and I've been on the other side where I felt that I had nowhere to go and nowhere to turn, and that community wasn't for me and I didn't fit into community. But what I've learned through community wealth building is it's for everyone.
Yeah. So how did you come across it? How did you become such an integral part of it?
I joined the People Focus Group 15 years ago, which is a peer support group based in Intake. It's actually a Queen's Award winning organisation. We won the last Queen's Award before our Royal Highness passed away for our community work. So We do lots within our community around peer support. Like I say, peer support is people helping people. And our tagline is get a life, not a service. There's a place for services for everyone. Everybody needs services at some time. But what does the community offer? So this place today, where we are, this is a community asset. So it's about looking within our communities about what the assets are and how we can take personal responsibility for our lives and our health and our well-being, and by joining up with other members of our community who can enrich our lives too.
Yeah. So if I, say for instance, I came along to the People's Focus Group meeting, what would I encounter there?
Well, first of all, there's no referral. There's no cost. It's 45 Montrose Abbey with intake. It's at Doncaster. But it's not just for Doncaster people. Like I said, I live in Rotherham. Anybody can come to the People Focus Group. Like I said, there's no referral, there's no cost. And the first thing you get is a warm welcome. And we do that because you don't know what's walking through the door. You don't know what's happening in people's lives. You don't know what they've just walked from. And we always say we're always recovering from the day before. And even if you just come with a child on, taking your kids to school, there's something about stress and pressure of our life. So our place is about looking at health inequalities and looking at the barriers that services put up, but just don't need to be there. We look at about how services can get out of the way, and let communities do it for people because they're in a better place to provide it. And also you have to remember that people don't stop at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Communities never close. So it's about when services aren't there, Christmas, bank holidays, weekends, what does the community do to provide the health and welfare and the well-being of the children and the adults in that community? We have so many people with disabilities, so I have mental health problems, I have autism, but we have people with learning disabilities, physical health, long-term conditions. We have people there who have no problems at all, but they just want to give something back to their community. So one of the parts of being part of People Focus Group is about giving more than you receive.
Yeah.
So I can't tie my shoelaces, I get lost in strange places. I have lots of things that I can't do because of my disabilities. But I'm not written off by my community, so I'm here today doing a podcast. Yeah. I do public speaking, I do training on the power of community and survivors of sexual abuse and understanding addiction. So we all have something to give, and that's the community wealth.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like, not everybody is academic, but then, you need the people that aren't to build the houses, to do things. There's lots of different... So people come to you and they may... You're not focusing on what they can't do, you're focusing on what they can do.
It's a strengths-based model. Yeah. We have a membership form. We don't ask them the diagnosis, we don't ask them what the treatment are, we don't ask them what medication are. If they want to tell us, that's absolutely fine, but that's not what we focus on. The question we ask is, what would you like to contribute to your community? And I can just give you an example. A Polish mental gentleman who comes to us recently came on the mental health ambulance because we also provide something called Safe Space, which is peer support, which is alternative crisis service. So he come in the mental health ambulance, he come part of services, got the help that he needed through that service. But now he provides at the wellness centre, he runs a Polish men's group. Yeah. So one of the things he asked us to do is because one of the things he said is that within the Polish community that domestic violence is rife. He asked us to provide some support around that area. So that's what we do for that person. Now every person comes with their own story.
So each individual, he individually saw that and thought that. I mean, he obviously had no real grounds for saying that there was domestic violence. But if he felt that, then he probably felt that a group would be good. Yeah. Because I suppose if you come here and you a different language, it would be very hard to get out. It's hard enough for I think any person, but sometimes it's very difficult for men to open up. Yeah. So if you've also got a language barrier, it must be quite difficult.
It's about bringing people back from the edge of society back into the centre. Yeah. It's like what you're doing today, providing me with opportunities. It's about giving people the gifts that people have, such as language, such as food. Food's a big one that we share food together. We deliver food for people who can't cook. We provide food within our centre for people to have food. It's about meeting the person where they're at, and it's also not expecting the person to come to us. It's about us coming to them, meeting them, and saying, how can we get get richer together.
Yeah, it is a difficult process, isn't it, trying to get people to come, because, sometimes there are barriers, aren't there? That society have caused, and our inside our head thinking, oh no, they won't be able to help me. But that's not true when you talk to other people, is it?
We have lots of people in digital poverty, so they haven't got a phone, they haven't got the internet, they haven't got a tablet, but then they're expected to get onto benefits, everything's on benefits, so then they get sanctioned. So we have citizens advice within our centre who can help them with that. We've got computers where people can get access to whatever they need to do to get, so they don't get sanctioned. We have food bank, we have an hygiene bank, so lots of live in Doncaster live in physical poverty, food poverty and hygiene poverty, so we have an hygiene bank. And there's no them on us anymore. We have families there who are working 40 hours a week, mum and dad, to someone who's on benefits, and they're still struggling to turn lights on. It doesn't matter anymore. It's about that person at that moment needing something that the community can provide. We also provide something called community wardens. If you think about the 1970s, old-fashioned warden service, we have a warden service with an intake where we go around to people's homes, and they might need to go to shop, or they might need to get benefits, or they might need to go to an appointment, or whatever it is that person needs. It's whatever it is they need, we do to enable them to stay at our hospital.
I have to say, this sounds like a really good service, especially as there's no referral. You can just walk in, and you may not. It might be that you just want to go and help, but also when you go, you've got your skills, and you also can take from other people's skills. So you are building a community right there at that web.
And also, the things that I do in the wellness centre, like doing this today, this is my medicine.
Yeah.
This keeps me at hospital. Everybody needs a purpose in life. Before, when I was in services for years, I didn't have a purpose.
Yeah.
I didn't have an...
Excuse me, I just have to sort of read. When you say you're in services, what does that mean? Because I don't,
Mental health services.
Right, so they're sort of an umbrella over you.
Mental health systems, so secondary mental health services, or mental health services, or drugs. I was in drug services for many years.
Yeah.
17 years since I took drugs now.
Yeah.
Also, I'm in drug services, I'm in mental health services, in social care services of children. I've never been out of services.
You've been offered all kinds of help, but this is the one that's helped the most.
Community wealth building.
Person related.
Community wealth building, enriching the person, enriching the community, enriching people together, bringing people together. So from Stop Smoking, through Learning Disability, through the CHAD organisation that we support, for whatever it is for that individual, for autism services, for ADHD services, for older people services. We provide all these things through community wealth building. It's about how can I be part of something bigger than myself? Yeah. How can that enrich my life? How can I enrich others? What is my gift that I can give? And we welcome them gifts.
And for you personally, it has given you a lot, hasn't it?
It saved my life. I would be dead today. Simple as that. I would be dead today without community wealth building and also the people focus group. I'm not in any doubt of that, because there's times I tried to kill myself because I didn't think I was wealthless is unimaginable. But the fact is today I feel I'm valued, I feel I'm wealthy, I feel that I'm enriched, that I feel that I've got something to give. The fact that because of my change in lifestyle through being part of communities, I've got my children back in my life now. I'm able to. I'm a carer for 4 people. I'm able to manage my caring duties. So my relationship to myself and my community's changed. I don't want to cause antisocial behaviour anymore. I don't want to chuck rubbish on streets anymore. I don't want to get looked up by police. Why? Because I respect my community now.
Yeah, because you're part of it.
Because
instead of being isolated as you were, you've been drawn into it. And not only drawn into it, you've also been able to show people, I have skills that will, and I'm a worthwhile person to have as part of this group, and I'm going to help build it.
I've showed that I can be a person, a human being in society. I can be a citizen. Yeah. All my life within services, I'm perceived as a problem. What do you see with problems? You get rid of problems, don't you? Yeah. But I've realised I'm not a problem. I'm just someone who needed my needs met in a different way to what they were providing.
Yes, yeah.
I've never met a member of staff in all the years of working in mental health services or alcohol service ever did anything wrong to me. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
They're brilliant staff. But the approach and the way they did it were wrong.
They didn't have an understanding of what your needs were,
no.
Or how you, like you were saying earlier, how you saw things. You know, if you process things differently, then surely they've got to understand that. And if they don't understand that, they may not understand that. Like for instance, if somebody has difficulty articulating, it might take them a long time to answer. If it takes them too long, another person will think, oh, they can't. They're non-verbal. That's not the way it goes, is it? You have to have the calming, you know, and really focus on that person. That's why, I mean, obviously that's why you've called it people focus, because as you focus on each person as an individual, you then can think, but they are an individual, but now I can bring them into the community.
That's right.
You know?
And you've got to stay curious.
Yeah.
You have to stay curious about one another.
Yes, yeah.
That's the thing. You have to want to be there.
Yeah.
You have to want to be present. Like you in this community, you're visible. You're visible. This organisation is visible right now, and that's what we need. People being visible. We don't want people sat in ivory towers, sat in buildings 25 miles away telling us what to do, and they've never been in that community.
Yeah.
We want people...
It's funny you saying about being curious, because I think it was Walt Whitman that said, and also Ted Lasso, because there's a television programme that he mentions this, and he says, don't be judgmental, be curious.
Be curious.
Because if you know more about a person, instead of just thinking, oh, look at that person, they can't, you know, it's like if you see somebody and they're not walking properly and you think, oh, what, are they drunk? They may not be drunk, they may have hurt themselves, this might be the first that they've come out after, you know, a long time of not walking. You have to engage with the person, don't you?
When I have diabetes, when I have an hypo, I become aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I stop eating, I start shouting, I start swearing. I also have hallucinations. I also just become delusional and confused. That is the same when I have a manic episode of my mental health.
Yeah.
But what you have to do with women is give me a biscuit to see which one it is.
Yes.
Give me a biscuit and give me a cup of tea to see is it mental health or is it diabetes. But if you looked at me, you'd think you're going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. It's about having that understanding.
Yeah.
It's about not being judgmental. And community wealth building is about enriching people's lives by not being judgmental, by seeing people as human beings, by seeing people as people, by welcoming the stranger in, by being part of something bigger and enabling yourself to touch and taste that, and also taking positive risks with people. Right now, coming here today is a positive risk. I'm absolutely loving it, being part of this. But without you allowing me and giving me permission to be able to come, how am I going to experience it?
Yeah. So when say if I've come to you and I've come to you as a volunteer, what kind of things do you want? You know, if you wanted volunteers, what would they want?
Well, the first thing we raise is what do you want? Because it's about that individual. We don't have a volunteers. What we have is peer supporters. So the difference between a volunteer and a peer supporter, a volunteer is expected to turn up at any time when we say you have set agendas and you do certain things. That's not what we're about. We have lots of people with mental health problems, autism, disabilities. Why would we put extra pressure on them? Yeah. With peer support, it's about as and when I choose, not when it's expected. So if I turned up today and I couldn't do it, I couldn't do it. Yeah. That's absolutely fine, but tomorrow I can. So it's about the community member giving what they can give when they feel they can give, not part putting extra pressure. So we have the Warden series, it could be part of that. It could be about being involved with Chadwick Learning Disability Network. It could be interviewing, setting interviews. It could be that we do stakeholder panels. We do stuff with the council around health inequalities. Whatever it is, it's what that person's inside, what gets that person out of bed in the morning. Yeah. So they would be telling us what they want to do, and we would be matching them to that.
Right, yeah. And actually, when somebody who comes to you who needs help, as well as this sort of embracing them into your community, are you also able to signpost them to where they get other help?
Oh, this is again where different the people focus group. We have zero tolerance on signposting people anywhere, because it creates problems upstream or downstream. So why would we want to do that for other parts of the service? Yeah. The People Focus Group is an anchor organisation in Doncaster. We will work with lots and lots of different partners. So we would take somebody to where they need to go. We would take somebody to the housing. We'd take somebody to the job centre. If somebody's homeless, we would deal with that. Whatever that person needs at that point, we're meeting where they're at. So we would go with them. We don't send somebody away to create more problems, not to go, to create more illness and anxiety, and then to turn up at A&E at need time because they're stressed out. So, again, we would help the person get to where they need to go, but we wouldn't send them there, we would go with them.
Well, so you really are supporting them right along the line.
All the way to the end.
So it's not just that you're not just in intake, and I must give out the address again because I think it's very important. So if you could just tell us the address again.
So the People Focus Group, based at the Wellness Centre, and it's 45 Montrose Avenue at Intake, and the telephone number is 01302 618 507.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, people can come along to you and literally can just walk through the door. There's no barrier at all.
It's an adult service, which is 18. So the oldest person we've got is 101. Children can attend, but they have to be accompanied by an adult because of the nature of the people, the nature of the service, and what it is. But it's not that children can. We have a lot of celebrations in Christmas and summer where we have picnics and barbecues. So children can come, but they have to come with the adult. So it's about being part of that community wherever the person is. We've got 3,400 members.
Wow.
3,400. Yeah, we were 3,300 last month. We've gained another 100. So again, and it's about providing support within communities. Well, one of our biggest partners again now is Ardash, Robert Doncaster Umberside Trust, where we sit on every level of Ardash, so people are involved in their care now. We've got Toby Lewis, who's iconic now within Ardash, who's took over as CEO, who's really changed the landscape and brought community in. We've got the Doncaster Council that we work with, we've got ICB that we work with, we've got Drasac that we work with, we've got Mind that we work with, we've got hundreds of organisations where people come to us and we support them with whatever they need.
Yeah.
It's not always about us providing the answer, it's about getting the answer. Yeah. We need an army of problem solvers.
Yeah. So obviously you're a really good community and it's nice to have that. Is there a more social side rather than the sort of like academically helping people?
Yeah, just come and have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Basically, we want everybody to come have a cup of tea and a chat. That's what we do with something to everybody. Then after that, but it's about how a place is about building relationships. It's about engaging community. It's about knowing the person. It's about understanding where you are and what you want to give. We can't do that unless we have a conversation.
Yes.
So all our services are all communication based. But it's about being a good relationship so we can build on trust.
Yeah.
And nothing goes as faster than the speed of trust. If you haven't got trust, it doesn't matter if you're a social worker, an OT, a council worker, a peer. If you haven't got trust with the individual, you're not going to get in anyway. So it's all about based on trust and having a conversation and a good old cup of tea.
Yeah. We've sort of tended to focus on people with mental health, but in actual fact, it can be anything that people come to because you're trying to build a community that shows all round
diversity.
Yeah.
So we have a veterans group. We've got the largest veterans group in South Yorkshire.
Oh.
The veterans group meets on a Saturday morning at Fit Rovers. And that's got every Army, Navy, Air Force, it's got them all in there. But we started off with 2 people having an idea, and it's grown to the largest veterans group in South Yorkshire. We have an LGBT group for people who are gay, lesbian, transgender coming out and about understanding the nature of that and working together to understand the things that they need to go through. We've got a Muslim ladies group who come and meet and talk about what that means within their community and being empowered and having a voice and getting people from their nationality and their language saying what it's like to access services. So we've got lots and lots of different diverse communities that work within our organisation. We also work with Doncaster Rovers. Obviously everybody loves Doncaster Rovers at our place. But the Doncaster Rovers has been pioneering and supporting this organisation, giving free tickets out to people, families, so they can go to match or living on the breadline, you know what I mean? Yeah. We do lots around health inequalities and fighting injustice, you know what I mean? Lot around direct payments. If people have access to direct payments in lower services, they've got more choice. If they've got more choice, that means they're going to have more mental well-being. Yeah. So it's about championing people's rights. That's what we are. We champion people's rights every day.
Yeah. And just sort of going back to your situation, now, what is it that you actually do at the...
The People Focus Group and the podcast, like today.
Yeah.
Yes, I do a podcast.
And we're so happy to have you here, actually.
This is the first podcast I've ever done, so I'm actually really, really excited about this adventure. I love doing new things, so I can feel now this is something I want to do again, so...
we've already talked about you and Georgia getting together.
Doing things around autism, helping people to understand people's autistic traits. That'd be great. I'd love to work with you. But for me, mine's around training, so I do a lot of like building communities. What does it mean? What does community power mean? What does recovery mean through drugs and alcohol? What survivors of sexual abuse? I do a lot of public speaking within communities around the richness of just being alive.
Yeah.
Understanding what it means to be alive instead of just existing.
Yeah.
I do a lot of strategic stuff for partners, consultancy work through mental health services and DBTH as well, hospital. So yesterday I was training junior doctors around mental health and community.
And all this has come about through having this group. Now, who started the group?
Kelly Hicks.
Right.
Kelly's worked in a local authority. She left the local authority with £27 in her pocket, and now she's got an organisation with 42 staff and over 3,400 members because she's a pioneer, she's a visionary.
Yeah.
She could see getting people together and then creating the hope and well-being. So one of the questions we're asking is, if you all went to doctors today, doctors are going to write a prescription, isn't they? They're going to write a prescription about what you said you need. So our question is, what if you write your own prescription out? What would you write? Well, I need to do a bit of exercise. I need to have more sleep. I need to get a job. So, right, that's your prescription. How do we enable you to get that then? For you to live and not exist, and to thrive, not survive.
Yeah. And did Community Wealth Builders, did they give you a grant or something to, you know?
They've a good, I think over the years they've got quite a few different grants around stop smoking, obesity, understanding where people don't go to gyms. A lot of the minute round is round Chad is called Choices for All Doncaster.
Mm-hmm.
It's a learning disability group, or it's an advocacy group of people with other learning disabilities. It's about making sure people with learning disabilities, their voices heard. It's about us sitting on strategic forums. This morning we've just been to Autism and Learning Disability and Ownership Partnership at Council. So I've supported people there.
Yeah.
So it's about enabling people to have a voice,
Yeah.
and also to be seen that just because we have a disability we're not written off.
So you've actually seen some major changes from how you were treated when you were younger, when you were at school, even though you're in mainstream school, like you say, it wasn't really geared to how you learned, you know. And have you seen a great difference? Are you seeing a difference now? Are you seeing people talking about it?
Well, people talking more about autism. People talking more about mental health openly. They're realising that everybody's got mental well-being, but not everybody's got mental health problems.
Yeah.
But we haven't, I think the royal family talking about mental health problems has brought it out a lot, because it's become more mainstream and more normalised. If you think about lots of the people in history who've had mental health problems, Winston Churchill used the black dog.
The black dog,
So
depression,
so what we're doing is normalising these things, and it's okay for people to have a mental health problem and get treatment for it.
Yeah. If I think of any one good thing that came out of COVID, I think it's that people who previously hadn't began to understand that isolation really doesn't help your mental health, does it? It really doesn't.
And also the other thing that I learned about through COVID is that to get over grief, it has to be shared.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be shared with communities. Because all services close, but the people focus group, we never close one day.
Yeah.
All we do is we adapt it. So you get a service, a big institutional service, you've got to go up to 15 meetings, 16 forums, got to go for all these processes, how to do something.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the VCS sector. We have an idea in the morning, we've implemented it by afternoon.
Yeah.
And that's where we came in through COVID. And that's why we're so valued now within Doncaster community, because we can get people motivated and started and get something happening straight away, where other services, through no fault on the wrapped up in bureaucracy, who can't do that.
Yeah.
So the real richness around community through COVID has been seen and valued, and the wealth of the community has been enriched.
So even through COVID, you were still able to help
we didn't stop one day.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I had a letter, because obviously I've got autism, I've got asthma, I've got diabetes, sleep apnea. I had to stay at home.
Yeah.
But all I did is phone everybody up every day.
Yeah, yeah.
So it didn't stop, we just adapted.
Yes, yeah.
That's the difference. Community can adapt very quickly, where services have to stop.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, if you've got a community, even if it's only by phone, if you've got a WhatsApp group, it's so enriching to your mental health, isn't it?
And that's the wealth. The wealth of community is about knowing that there's someone else there for you.
Yeah.
The wealth of community is about knowing that you're not on your own. The wealth of community is about connecting together at some level. So me and my friend are so they're just connected about autism. We've never met, but we were as lives are so aligned. So it's about connecting with people and understanding what it is for them that they want to connect about. It's not about imposing ourselves on people.
No.
It's not about judging people. It's not about giving somebody another diagnosis. You know what I mean? It's not about any of that. It's not the word resilience. I hate the word resilience because that all resilience means to me is somebody has loads of problems, what we're going to do is give them more problems to become more resilient. It's rubbish. No, it's about, instead of coming up with more problems, it's about finding an answer for that individual. And they're not all the same. Some people, sometimes you can't, there's no answer. But that's an answer in itself.
Yeah. Because, it's like some days, all you can do is just maybe go to bed and see if it feels better the next day. And even that is good advice.
So even in our organisation, we have something called do-away days. You can have 3 a year. Sometimes you just work, I can't do it today. Yeah. That's fine, you still get paid.
Yeah.
Because we want to be a valued employee to our staff.
Yeah.
We want to see difference. It's not about punishing someone or sometimes you just can't do it.
No.
You know, in your life, you just can't do it. It's about just that day I can't do it.
Yeah, you've got a group of people. It's like if you've had time off work and you think, I've got to get back to work, and you go back to work and you go too early. That's no good either. You've got to actually think about your staff and make sure that we're not just looking after the people who walk through the door. You are as important as well.
And it's also about kindness. Our organisation is enriched in kindness. It's about being kind to people. It's about not forcing people when they can't be forced. Yeah. It's about giving them time to be, giving them space. It's about stopping. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Taking time out and realising that's not the right path for me. What do I need to do? Every human being has the innate experience to know what they need. But it's just sometimes enabling other people to allow them to find out what they need. Yeah. They've got the answer. Yeah. It's not about us telling them what they need. It's about us helping them to get to the answer that they've already know about. Yeah. So
getting people to open up, really. Yeah. And the thing is, if it's not your community, how can you open up? You walk into your doctor, and I mean, my mother was a real person who, really used to annoy me. You'd go to the doctors with her, and the doctor would say, "How are you?" And she'd say, "Oh, I'm all right, thank you." And it's like, well, what are we doing here then? She was so sort of in awe of the doctor. It's almost like, I don't want to waste his time telling him. It's like, have you told him? No, I haven't. But if you're in a conversation and you're just chatting, and then somebody else can say, well, I've had that. You know what happened when I had that? I went to the doctors. They gave me some tablets, or they gave me an exercise, or they did or they sent me somewhere. And you know what? I'm all right now.
And that's the thing with the people focus group. That thing with community wealth building is about. It's about getting rid of the power imbalance. It's about seeing the power dynamics within a relationship. It's about bringing balance to that. It's about, if I've been coming to PFG for 15 years today, and you're coming for one day, we've still got one person, one bowl. Yeah. We're still streamlined. Nobody's more powerful than anyone else. It's just that we have different jobs to do. Yeah. So every person who works at the People Focus Group is a peer supporter first before they work there. Yeah. And that's the difference. We're all there at the same thing, trying to do the same thing to enrich our communities and make our communities richer by being in our communities. Because when you take a person out of community, you don't just rob the person of community, you rob the community of the person.
Yes, yeah.
So when we're taking people and moving people all across country, we're robbing our communities. Yeah.
Because you don't get an understanding. My grandson, my youngest grandson, he's 3, Jacob, and he's a Down syndrome child. And the thing is that I think I know he enriches my life, and I know that when I was very much younger, I wouldn't have come across that because he was put, somebody with that with Down would I think I'm saying it wrong. It's just supposed to say Down. It would just be put somewhere else. Yeah, now, of course, it's like he goes to nursery. He's absolutely loaded. It's like, and it because that now he's part of that community. They're putting on Odd Sock Day on the day that they celebrate. I think it's the 15th of March. I'm not sure. And all those things that come about because you've met somebody. Yes. It makes such a difference.
So community wealth building is about inclusion.
Yeah.
Community wealth building is about acceptance. Community wealth building is about celebrating difference.
Yeah.
It's not about exclusion. It's not about stereotyping. It's not about stigma. It's not about judgment. And when we talk about community wealth building, this is community wealth building right now. Mm-hmm. My wealth right now is in the people in this room celebrating together what we're creating. So in life, whether you're creating chaos or whether you're creating beautiful things, you're creating.
Yeah.
So how do we help people to become more creative within their own lives? Because we're always creating. So what is it we're creating? How do we use that energy in a positive way and not a negative way? And a lot of the people that we deal with, sadly, have never had a choice. They don't know that they're doing wrong. They don't know that they're being a problem. They don't know that how they're living their life or what they're doing is upset. So we have a responsibility to help people to understand that.
It's sometimes people are just never given things. It's like, I think about, even just on an everyday basis, if you don't give somebody a child an instrument to play, there's never going to be more music. If you don't give people a chance to here's do some woodworking or whatever, or here's a typewriter, here's a computer, being made open to things is such a wonderful thing.
I was an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare in communities. I couldn't communicate. I communicated with fists. When I walked down the street, you were like partying at Red Sea. People didn't know if we were going to laugh at them or fight them, right? But that's how I was brought up. That's how I was led up. I thought that was normal.
Yeah.
Until somebody showed me something different. So one of the people, obviously one of my role models, Kelly Hicks, one of the people who gave me opportunities, who allowed me to make mistakes. I had to challenge. I had to challenge the way we're thinking and being every single day. Don't forget, I'd walked into a centre where I'd been institutionalised for 40 years, and she says, "Go and make yourself a cup of tea." I said, "Me, I'm allowed in the kitchen. I'm allowed to make a cup of tea. I'm not allowed in the kitchen. I've never been in the kitchen. All of a sudden, somebody's telling me I can make a cup of tea. I've had people tell me what to wear, when to stand up, when to go to bed, what to eat. All my life, I'd had people telling me how to live, and all of a sudden, this person saying to me, "Go and make yourself a cup of tea." It was very close. We're going back on.
And it's like putting trust in you that you've never been putting, even on that level.
I didn't even know my name, so she was saying, "Hey up, Glynn." Who's that?
Yeah.
Me. Yeah, I'm Glynn.
And how does she know?
But in services, you're not called by your name.
No.
Him, her, over there, sit up.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say,
he's not eating his dinner, or he's not. Yeah.
Very dehumanised.
Yes.
But within the people focus group and peer support, because you're treated with such care, love, compassion, understanding, that can be frightening too.
Yeah. You're thinking, what do they want from me?
Yeah, so you start getting paranoid, thinking that to get me, or they're trying to do something to me. So what I'm trying to say, both sides are very frightening, but it's about finding that thing for that one person. So for me, for instance, I wanted to be better than I wanted to be a better version of myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to become that.
No.
And I know I wanted something different. I know I was skilled and educated, but I didn't have no learning.
No.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. I needed nurturing a lot of the time. Yeah. And where services seem to fall down is they think this is a quick fix.
I'm going to say
this takes a long time. It took me 50 years to get in this room today.
It's like if ever you talk to an alcoholic or an addict, the one thing they'll tell you is that they nurture their sobriety because they have to. If they don't do that every day, they won't have it.
Stopping drinking or stopping taking drugs is easy, just don't take it.
Yeah.
The hardest thing about addiction, because I've been addicted to all drugs, I've been addicted to alcohol, I've been addicted to everything. I've been in services for alcohol addiction. I went to Gamblers Anonymous for 21 years. So I moved from drugs to drink to gambling. So all you do is you move your addiction.
Yeah.
But the point is with an addiction, stopping any addiction is easy. What the hardest thing about stopping addiction is staying away from the people in addiction, staying away from the culture in addiction. Even addiction itself has its own language, has its own norms, it has its own places to go to. So what you're trying to do is break out the culture. So you do 7 days in hospital and a rehab, and they put you back in community where you've just left.
Yeah, and it's and there's all the temptation. All the temptation is still there.
So just put you back into lion's mouth.
Yeah.
So again, the thing about my hearing voices, my mental health, going through services, being a child carer, going through abuse, going through all of them different things. Actually now, I won't have none of that took away from me because it's made me the person I've become today.
Yeah.
So in effect, it's enriched my life, and that's what the community wealth building is. How can we enrich other people's lives for our own experience?
And also bringing people in that previously haven't felt that they had a community, which is wonderful. Which talking to you today has really sort of brought that forward. So we can't really go on very much longer, although I would love to keep talking to you. And as you said, we probably need to do another podcast. I would like to do a podcast with Kelly because it seems like what
she's
a wonderful woman to have started this thing,
woman,
you know.
Wonderful woman.
So, right, thank you very much, Glenn, for
Thank you
coming
very
in
much,
with short notice. And anybody that needs to know, the People Focus Group, we'll put all the details on our social media platforms. And thanks a lot. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. Today's guest details can be found in the bio.